Hi there, it's Suzanne here. I'm not quite sure what time it is. It says I'm live. Anyways, I have some cheery flowers here from the garden to make us smile and keep us happy. And I have some project for you today. There's the welcome card. I think you can see that. And as usual, I'm looking for, there we are. Oh, I got my feed really easily today. Hello, hello, hello to everybody. Hi, Judy. There. Well, I wish I had smell-o-vision because these lily of the valley smell great. They're straight out of the garden. We're being overrun with lily of the valley, but it could be worse. We could be overrun with weeds, and some people might think these are weeds, but I don't think so. So I've got the little welcome card out. Hopefully Hi, Kathy Jo. Just going to wait a couple of minutes to see if anybody else joins us. Hopefully they do. And I'll just tell you, I'm Suzanne, and I'm a calligrapher, and I do the design the dies, the Away with Word dies for Elizabeth Craft Designs. And we share our projects all the time on the Quietfire Creations blog. We also have the digital blog where we share projects I've made for Silhouette. And we appear usually once a week on the Elizabeth Craft Design blogs because Elizabeth Craft Design is who makes the dies, and we do lots of stuff with the dies. Okay, well, I'm going to get started. And no, I don't have a new welcome sign, but I will soon. And here's today's project. And it's a sympathy card. And it might not be quite what you expect from a sympathy card. And we all have pets. Well, even if you don't have a pet right now, you might know somebody with a pet. And those pets don't always outlive us, and I don't want to dwell on that too much because it's sad. But every once in a while you need to make a card to let a friend know that you're thinking of them, or maybe you need to make one for yourself. But these things happen, and it's really nice to share a card with somebody that needs to know that you're thinking about them. So here's a little idea, and it's just a very simple card. It goes together really quickly, and I'll show you what I used for this. I used with Sympathy, of course, and that's what it looks like. Hey, Yogi. Hang on a sec. I'm just gonna hit this. I'm not seeing the comments. Comments on, comments off. Oh, there we go. Maybe that's going to be good. Okay, there's the With Sympathy, what the die looks like on the back. And then we're also going to use this Hearts and Paw Prints spray dies. And that's what they look like. They're two separate dies. And if you remember a few weeks ago, I used the butterfly spray for a project, and I'll just talk about that in a minute. But these were designed to go over the top of the Away with Words dice, and that's how I've used it here. And I'll just remind you about this other spray set. Okay, we're using this one, this set. But a few weeks ago, back in April, we used the butterfly spray. And we used it to make a stencil. Remember that? There we go. So we kept that out of transparency. and then sponge through it to make that card. So you see, these dies are versatile. You can use them as I have here and cut through cardstock, or you can create yourself a stencil and stencil through it, and then you get all sorts of neat possibilities happening with that. Okay, I'll just put those aside. And that's the butterfly spray, and this is the paw print and heart spray. And of course, there's tons of things you can do with the heart. Okay, let's put those aside. Like I say, this is a really fast card, and you can make them up. You can make a whole bunch up. You don't want to think too much about that. But here's the die. And what I did was cut a piece of cardstock, and this is just Staples, ivory cardstock. And the other color I used was this brown, which is made by American Crafts, and it's called Caramel. And it's a really nice, kind of a teddy bear brown. They used to make a little darker brown, which I really liked a lot, and I keep looking for a substitute for that. So, and it's not really dark coffee bean brown, but it'd be in between this and the coffee bean brown, like a really dark brown. So if you know of any, let me know. Okay, so let's put that over there. So I took and cut a piece of ivory cardstock, and it's 6 1/4 by 4 1/4, and I just lay the die over top. I used a little piece of removable tape, or you could use washi tape, to secure the die in place while you put it through the machine. And voila, by the magic of television, we have the die cut right here. And then I cut the caramel cardstock just slightly bigger so it would make a mat. So it's about 1/8 of an inch all around. So if you were making it bigger, it would be about a 1/4 inch bigger piece of cardstock. And we're just going to center it like that. But first, let's add a little bit of interest to it by sponging around the edge. And we have, yeah, see, I'm still not getting the comments. And let's try that again. And let's go back and maybe I'll see some comments. Oh, the other thing, of course, you're going to do is cut with Sympathy, and I cut that out of the caramel. So let's whip up the little guard sheet here. I'll put this over here. Hopefully you can still see that. And then I'm using Distress Ink brushed corduroy and the sponging tool. And I'm just going to go around the edges of this. I just got to move a cord out of the way here. And so you're just going to take and go around the edges of this. It just gives a little bit of additional texture. You could use a printed cardstock for this, but you don't want to make it too busy, because then you won't see the paw prints, or you won't see with Sympathy on top. So you're just going to go run around here, and you don't really need to watch me do this, do you? However, I can't speed it up because it's live. But I will take the With Sympathy and I'll show you what I do. And again, they just pouncing the brush corduroy and carefully sponging it on. Maybe pat it a little bit. And it might not look like there's any color there, but as soon as you put it on a whiter cardstock, a lighter cardstock, you'll be able to see it. So width is likely to go into the paw prints. So let's give the flourish on the top of the H a little bit of color so it stands out. Otherwise, I'm just going to do the bottom of the letters. Makes it interesting. And then the same with Sympathy. I'm going to do that. I don't know what's going on here. I'm still not getting comments. Let's see. Oh, Diana, hello. Yes, I'm getting the news now. Boy, technology really got me last week. It really threw me off. Anyway, it's that simple. It just gives it a little bit more interest. And you don't want to be too rough on it because there's some parts of the word that aren't braced. So, and you don't want to pull it apart like the H. If you weren't careful, you could pull that apart. So try not to do that because it doesn't make for a nice looking word. Okay, enough of that. Do you want me to go back and finish up the, here, I'll just do a quick edging of this. Have I got enough on the... See what I mean by a quick card? I know not everybody has four-legged furry pets, but do you think I should do some bird feet? Okay, put that aside. Okay, so let me remind you about lining up words on here. So we're going to put sympathy right on this ivory cardstock. We're going to put it there so that you could have the descender here hang off the bottom, and that's okay. I'm going to drop something, and I'm going to take my T-square, good old T-square, and I'm going to line it up with the edge of the card here. What I'm finding lately is that if I actually put that on there, then I can come in and line that up just a little bit better and get an idea where my baseline should be, because you're looking for the baseline for the die cut, because it's just like lettering, right? There's a baseline, and you want to position that so that it's straight, so that your die cut sits straight on the piece of paper. And of course, this is assuming you've cut your rectangle straight. Square. Now I am not left-handed, so I'm going to turn this around and draw a really, really light line across there. And I'm going to put that on first using my favorite technique, glue dots, and because they're fast, just pull them off with your fingernail and roll them and pop them on the back of the die cut. And I do at least 3. So the end of the letter, the middle of the letter, the beginning of the letter. And if there's ascenders and descenders, then I'll probably put one on there. This sympathy is quite a long word, so I'm just going to pop some extra on here, maybe on the F, because it has an ascender. Okay, put this back in the middle, and we don't want that to run off the page, so I'm going to put that end down first. And once you get that down, you sort of have a bit of wiggle room for moving that letter, word, so it all falls along the baseline. And there's that, and it does hang off the bottom. And I've sponged that, so it is going to have some contrast to the background panel. Okay, that done. We're going to do the same thing with. And you can decide where you want it. You could put it right there with sympathy. It reads really well when they're close together. I moved mine up here. I think my panel was a little bit bigger. But don't spread these words out too much. They're really great when they're close together. Okay, I'm still not getting the comments showing up. Isn't that weird? I don't know. I'm not living right the last couple of weeks. Okay, so with, and again, it doesn't hurt to put that up on here and decide, yeah, I'm going to move it there for this one. So move that out of the way and run a really light line across there with your pencil. And again, high-tech tool, a fingernail. And I'm going to put one on that swash there. But you really do have to roll these because they're too big. I can't find any that are really small. And I'm putting one up on that flourish up there. Okay, let's pick this up, and you could position it with tweezers, but this is okay. And again, if you can see the line, the pencil line, you'll see that the letters are falling right on there. Okay, and there you go. Now the other thing I'm going to use is the Tombow Mono eraser, and it's got this wonderful little tip on it, and hopefully it's clean. Let's clean it off just to make sure. And then you can come in and clean up the little pencil marks there. And if you're doing this on a really dark paper, then you can use a soapstone pencil. Now this does leave a little bit of residue, so it's good to take a brush and just dust that off. And see that swash on the W wants to lift a bit, so I would come in with a, here, I'll do it, another glue dot, or a little tiny piece of glue, you know, a little bit of glue. And push that under there carefully. That's going to ball up. Poor technique, Suzanne. There. You can kind of hide it there. Okay. And there's a cat hair on there. And then we're going to take the panel. And we've got that. And I'm just going to reach over. I have in my stash here, in a different colored glue dots thing, I have the first ones that I use to put the letters on are the micro, and these are the mini. And they look huge when you've been working with the micros. And they're fast. And you can put extra ones on. So halfway along the and then stand over your project. I'm going to get rid of this. It's got a little bit of distress ink on it. And just line that up. And there we go. Now, something that I got just the other day was some of these glue dots, pop-up dots, which give you a 3D effect. So I thought I'd give those a try, and they work just fine. So there's my card base. This is a 5x7 card base, tent fold card base. And these glue dots, they're big. And again, I peel them right off. That's my thing. And put them on. I didn't have much luck with putting that straight on there. I was afraid I was going to bend my card, so I opted for this. These are nice and thick and chubby and take up a lot of space and lift your panel right up to make it interesting. And again, you don't have to do the distress inking, and you don't have to do the dimensional stuff. If you're wanting to make a card fast and furious, then just do the minimal stuff. You might have a cute piece of cardstock with dog bones on it or something. And there you go. That's all there is to it. It just makes a nice little card, and then you can put a little quote in the inside. And one of my favorite ones for pet sympathy cards is "Sometimes," said Pooh, "the smallest things take up the largest place in our hearts," or something like that. It's close to that. Whenever I'm filling an order, I'm going, "Sometimes," said Pooh. I say that every time. Yes, it's true. You should come into my stockroom sometimes. You could keep the cat from eating all the plastic and scratching the cardboard. So there you go. There's two different versions of it, slightly different versions of it, and it's easy to do, and that's all there is to it. So, any questions? Hopefully I can read, because I'm not getting comments still. I don't know. Maybe my poor iPad needs to be updated. But so 5x7 card with Sympathy. We used the Hearts and Paw Prints spray, which is that one there, and it just goes over the top of the letters. And the hearts would do the same. They would spray over top of whatever word you wanted. And with Sympathy. And you've got a card. Now, I mean, I've seen just with Sympathy used with a gorgeous floral cardstock, and it just makes the nicest Sympathy card. And it just says "with Sympathy," and it's plain and it's beautiful, and you know, you're not putting in you know, looking for words, or anyway, sometimes it's just better to not say too much. So there we have it. So join us on Quietfire Creations, Quietfire Digital, the Elizabeth Craft Designs blog. I'm here, or Kathy Jo will be here, not next week, in 2 weeks. I'll be back here next week and I'll be inking my fingers. So see that? That's probably what's going to happen next week. So join me then, and thanks for coming. And I'll just look for any things. No? Okay. Well, thanks for coming. I hope this has given you an idea, because we do need these cards every once in a while. Thanks for joining me. See you next time.